Hello everyone, this is the Duke, and I'm going to be bringing to you some StarCraft 2 games and action and stuff. Wow, I'm going to start off by saying again how sorry I am that I haven't been doing any videos. It's just that damn Diablo 3. It's just screwed up so much of my time. But regardless, I'm back. Because I've pretty much, well, okay, so here's the reason I'm back and not playing Diablo 3 anymore, is because with Diablo 3, I'm going to level with you, Inferno difficulty is impossible, and it's killed the enormous amount of time I wish to put into the game, so I've decided that I need to stop neglecting you guys in my StarCraft 2, and need to start doing more of that again, so I'm going to be doing a couple games for you guys today. Hopefully they'll all go up in the same day, or maybe I'll space them out, I don't know. Anyways, the point is, let's get to the game. So the game is on Metalopolis. It's between one of my good friends, CakeSaucE, playing a guy on ladder. So this is a TVT. And we have our blue Terran here, CakeSaucE, and our red Terran, SerPounce. Now, he emailed this to me a couple days ago. He's like, Jeremy, I got this sick TVT that I want you that you should cast. I think you're really going to like it. He told me a little bit about what happens, and I'm not going to spoil it for you guys so that there's going to be so a little bit of surprise in there for you, but based on what he's told me preliminarily, it sounds like it's going to be a great game. Oh, sorry the music wasn't enabled. Thought it was. Now we do see standard openings out of both guys, both gas and Rax opening, although CakeSaucE did start his gas a little bit before. Now these are close by air positions, and generally when you see close by air positions on Metalopolis, especially with Terrans, there is a tendency to go like a cloaked Banshee kind of opening or drop play rather than taking all this time to walk around. Now these close by air positions indicate that this is in fact on ladder, because you won't see this on an MLG map. Also, there's no supply depot at the bottom of the ramp. So CakeSaucE is getting his scout on. He does see that he's going with just a more standard opening, and it looks like SerPounce decided to pull off a bunch of workers and kill CakeSauce's scouting SCV. Kind of mean, but you know, you want to get that SCV if you can, because it's one SCV early game, not a huge thing to lose, but still it'll put you behind. And as you can see, CakeSaucE is in fact one SCV behind. Now we do see CakeSaucE opening with a reactor attached to his barracks and a factory being built right next to that barracks. So we are going to see some Hellion play more than likely, which in TVT isn't necessarily I don't know. It depends on if they wall. And as CakeSaucE was scouting, he sees that he isn't walling, or he's doing a supply depot wall. Now he is gonna finish it up, which is going to deny the reactor Hellions from being able to get in. However, CakeSaucE will be able to at least temporarily deny the timing of this second base, or even this third base, with the mobility that those reactor Hellions offer. Not reactor Banshees. Now, looks like we're going to be seeing a 1-1-1 out of CakeSaucE. We do see the starport going down right now, and the barracks is being moved into position right next to the starport. More than likely, we'll see a tech lab. Now, for SerPounce, we're actually going to see almost the same build. We do see that he builds his factory right next to his starport, and his factory did get a tech lab add-on. So I think we're going to see double cloaked Banshees out of these guys. CakeSaucE is going to have, I think the timing is actually almost exact. Now, important thing to note, CakeSaucE is only on one gas for right now. Now this is really interesting. He's going for a dropship first, and we do see that he attached the tech lab to his barracks. So I think we're going to see drop Banshees, as that is one of CakeSauce's favorite specialties. And drop Banshees in the base can do a good amount of damage. Not only will he do damage, but he'll also see that there's a starport going down, that there's a tech lab attached to this starport. So when you see that, it's definitely going to be cloaked Banshees. So he is going for his drop right now, and he's dropping in the smoke so that SerPounce won't immediately see him. And as you can see, SerPounce is actually out of position. So CakeSaucE moves in. He sees that the starport is finished, that there's a tech lab attached to it, and he's able to get a couple probes, a couple SCVs, cause a good bit of damage to a lot of them, and a really nice micro there. However, CakeSauce has other problems, as there are now cloaked banshees inside of his base. Or just one banshee, really. Cloak has yet to finish, and CakeSauce is just causing so much damage here. Just can't even believe it. He managed to kill 11 workers. However, an equal amount of damage is being done to him as well. He's so far lost 5 workers. However, he does have this Viking out, which is going to scare off the Banshee, at least for now. And there's the Tech Lab switch. So we might see some cloaked Banshees from CakeSauce as well. Turret's going up in the missile line too, so cloaked Banshee play is going to be virtually not a problem unless it decides to pick off other buildings such as this Tech Lab. Oh, sorry about the yawn, guys. Now we do see that this cloaked Banshee is moving into CakeSauce's base, and CakeSauce is prepared for this. He does have a Viking in position, and he is dropping a scan. Now the Banshee is choosing to micro down the Tech Lab, which is not at this moment producing, is not researching Cloak at all. So for right now, he's kind of picking off the wrong target. He's going for a Banshee of his own, which SerPounce will actually be a little unprepared for. Most of his Marines are by his expansion, and he doesn't have an engineering bay yet, which means he can't build turrets, and we won't see a lot of, we won't see scans or anything like that. So CakeSauce's first Banshee is ready. Still no Cloak from him, and he's going for another Hellion drop. And these Hellions, especially, are going to be able to kill a lot of SCVs. Now, one of the important thing to note is that SerPounce actually stopped a lot of his SCVs, and he was able to. They stopped him from doing anything, and CakeSauce was able to pick off a lot of them. CakeSauce has so far killed 18 SCVs to the 5 SCVs that SerPounce has killed. So, in terms of economy, CakeSauce is definitely catching back up. He is getting his orbital finished right now, and then he's going to expand, whereas SerPounce has actually already expanded. Now, other important thing to note is, if CakeSauce attacks with this Banshee, SerPounce is going to be in a lot of trouble, because he doesn't have scan saved up. He has almost one here, and his Marines are actually out of position, so CakeSauce could come in here and do a lot of damage. Although there are these Marines guarding in the smoked area, if CakeSauce is careless and just goes straight for the mineral line. And we do see SerPounce moving out a little bit across the map with his Banshees. I think he's just trying to pick off stray SCVs or scouting units, and he might even go for an attack, which CakeSauce will be prepared for. He does have missile turrets set up in a couple positions, one by his starport and one in his mineral line. However, he's yet to start mining on this base, which he really needs to start doing, and also he needs to get a missile turret really around here or even in this area just to sort of protect him, as these cloaked Banshees will prove to be annoying. Now, CakeSauce went for another Hellion drop, and I'm not sure how many SCVs he got this time around. However, he did force a transfer to the natural, and he was actually able to really not pick off that many SCVs. Well, he picked off 6 more that time, so now he's killed 24 SCVs with just drop Hellions, and forced a massive transfer, which was quite a delay in mining time. CakeSauce is capitalizing on this and is doing a huge SCV transfer. However, he does have problems, as these 2 cloaked Banshees are now in this base. CakeSauce does not have a scan at all, so he is going to be forced to pull back. He is going to be forced to pull back his SCVs. And meanwhile, this Banshee is just going to get a lot of these incredibly vital units, such as these Hellions, which CakeSauce has just been doing so much damage with. And usually it's about this time that CakeSauce decides to go for a Raven or something like that. But I think for now he's just going to play it a little bit safer and wait to expand. Now he does get a scan off and is able to do a little bit of damage. Manages to pick off one of the cloaked Banshees. However, still no missile turrets up in this mineral line. So he's going to be in a little bit of trouble, at least for now. And in terms of workers killed, they're actually almost even. He picked off a lot of CakeSauce's workers that time. CakeSauce has lost 19 workers, whereas SerPounce has lost 24. So this game's really pretty much evened up. Even though CakeSauce is quite ahead in terms of harvesters, but however, because of the saturation of the saturation across the 2 bases, SerPounce is actually keeping up with CakeSauce. I also think it's because SerPounce does have quite a few more mules than CakeSauce does, as CakeSauce has been producing, has been using his energy on scans rather than on mules. So he does have turrets up. He's pretty much going to be protected. SerPounce has decided he doesn't want any more shenanigans happening to him, so he set this Viking on patrol in this short airspace between the two. Now, meanwhile, CakeSauce is going for tanks. He does have Siege finished as well. And it looks like SerPounce is actually going to be pushing out at this point in time. SerPounce also has Siege tanks with the Siege tank upgrade, and we see quite a few Marines here. Now, CakeSauce is going Hellion heavy, which is great against the Marines, and he does have quite a few tanks mixed in here, more tanks than SerPounce has for sure. However, this many Marines could be a problem. Important things to note about these Marines are that these Marines do not have a stim. They don't have combat shield. They do have +1 though, which means they'll do a good amount of damage. And unfortunately, CakeSauce sent his Hellions to attack it at just the wrong time, as the spread of the Marines the concave of the Marines was far greater. And CakeSauce is actually in a little bit of trouble here. He doesn't have much or even any anti-air. He has this one Viking. I don't think he knows about it yet, but he is in a bit of trouble right now. So CakeSauce is just trying to get a bearing for what's going on here, and he does see that yes, there are a lot of Marines. There's still one tank left. He actually was able to get a tank with one of his siege tanks. However, he's in a little bit of trouble right now, especially for when SerPounce decides to attack or decides to push. Now, turrets are going up around CakeSauce's base. I don't think many of these turrets are going to be able to finish. He does have a scan available, so he can start picking off. And he does have another Viking in position, so he can start picking off some of these air units. He really needs to regain air superiority, as if he can get that, then he'll lose his vision on the high ground, and CakeSauce will be able to shell him from the high ground rather than getting shelled from the low ground. Now, 2 Vikings are pretty much maintaining air control. CakeSauce also has 2 Vikings. However, one of his Vikings is a little hurt, and also this Banshee is complicating matters significantly. CakeSauce does still have this one Viking down here, although I don't think he knows about it, or he just doesn't see it. Now, it looks like CakeSauce is going to be taking an expand, and SerPounce is actually taking his third as well, but he's deciding to go for the gold, playing a little bit greedy there, which is a totally reasonable and justifiable move to make, especially considering that at this moment he kind of has CakeSauce contained. Cake can't really go anywhere at this point in time, just because there's so many Marines here for even the Hellions to get close and do any amount of damage, and not to mention these siege tanks make things complicated too. He's also lost air control too, as there are Vikings here as well. However, he is about to regain it. Really nice micro there from CakeSauce, is able to micro down one of the Vikings without losing it. And it forces SerPounce to lift up one of his Vikings. And I think for right now, yeah, SerPounce is going to pull back, as CakeSauce is beginning to regain control of the air. And not to mention, CakeSauce does have a frightening amount of tanks. He has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tanks here. 9 tanks actually in his base versus the 2 tanks that SerPounce has. And 9 tanks is really great against this number of Marines too. So pretty much SerPounce, it will not be able to push up anymore once CakeSauce moves to the edge, which he definitely can, as there is no more air control. And I think CakeSauce might actually be moving to push out, which would be a good time, just as long as he sieges at the correct time rather than getting sieged. And in TVT engagement, that's what it comes down to. It just comes down to that ability to know when to siege up. And CakeSauce is actually going to barbecue a lot of these Marines. Those Marines were actually on move command, so the Hellions are just going to cause so much damage. And CakeSauce is able to get one of the tanks as well. So really nice engagement there. Those Hellions barbecuing just unbelievable amounts of Marines. Incredible play there. And looks like CakeSauce is going to be sieging forward, not stimming with tanks. Man, how crazy would that be if tanks had stim? That would just be like so OP. Now, CakeSauce is slowly sieging forward, as he does have this amount of tanks. It really isn't going to be much. One tank isn't going to be much of a problem for him. And really nice micro there from Cake, is able to keep microing down SerPounce's Vikings without losing his own. And this does force SerPounce to move up, to lift off his orbital and move away. He was able to get a little bit of mining done on this gold,
but he is going to be. But this delay is going to cost him a little bit, and it's going to give CakeSauce a little bit of time to catch up. He's moving his third base into position right now, and looks like the tables have turned. CakeSauce is pretty much containing SerPounce at this point in time. And if CakeSauce takes vision of this watchtower, he'll have complete vision over the map, and he won't be able to get flanked or anything like that. Now, CakeSauce has brought a lot of SCVs with him to repair the tanks, to repair the Vikings, which is definitely a smart idea. And I think repairing units is actually highly underutilized in TVT, so it's really great to see CakeSauce doing that, even sacrificing a little bit of mining. And speaking of mining, CakeSauce is actually ahead, not just in harvesters, but in actual mining, as his third base is much more saturated than SerPounce's is, although SerPounce did a massive mule drop. Now, CakeSauce is saving up scans for Cloaked Banshees, although he could afford to drop 1 or 2 mules in this third base and really start catching up based on how far he's, well, not, he hasn't really been that far behind economically most of the game, he did get delayed. Now, it looks like CakeSauce is going for, he's going to go for a bit of a contain here, and this is a really nice way to contain. If you could put a couple tanks right here, put a couple tanks right here, and then that gives you a really huge concave to get things done. Now, SerPounce does take the watchtower, and he sees a little bit of what's going on. However, he does have other problems, and CakeSauce has moved in a bunch of blue flame Hellions into the third base of SerPounce, and it just completely wrecked the economy of SerPounce. Wow. So we see 38 workers have fallen. 38 total workers. I think he got 14 that time around. And Blue Flame Hellions are just so great against Marines. He does have to be careful of these tanks, though. And in CakeSauce's base, we do see a bit of a drop going on. This turret is going to micro down the medevacs. However, CakeSauce is prepared. He's been macroing really hard this whole game and was able to clean that up with virtually not that many units lost. I think he did lose a couple Hellions, but he cleaned up 2 dropships worth of units, and 1 dropship too. So nice play there, even keeping the tanks sieged up in his base. Now, it looks like CakeSauce is going to be taking a 4th and a 5th actually, which is a really smart position for him, really smart move for him to make, especially considering how far behind SerPounce now is in terms of economy. And looks like SerPounce actually is doing quite well in terms of economy, as CakeSauce is really only on 2 mining bases. And CakeSauce and also mule drops are helping him out quite a bit, even though CakeSauce is ahead in workers. Now, CakeSauce is pretty much going sort of like a mech, like hybrid Sky Terran build. We see a lot of tanks, a lot of Blue Flame Hellions, and quite a few Vikings too, which is definitely a good strat to take. And looks like CakeSauce is going to pick off another Viking there, another siege tank, which is really not good for SerPounce. At this point in time, he's really contained. And he doesn't even have air superiority, which the air superiority is completely essential. It's completely essential for for tank wars, as you need to have that extra vision. It looks like CakeSauce's 5th base is going to be denied. He is sending in Blue Flame Hellions to clean up his Marines, and CakeSauce does cancel. Actually, no, I don't think he got the cancel on that. I think he might have gone it. I'm not sure. But yeah, at least for now, SerPounce is a little bit trapped. Now, CakeSauce did bring Vikings with him, and the Vikings are going to micro down this medevac. So a bit of a loss there for SerPounce, as he did lose a medevac full of 8 Marines. Now, important things to note: CakeSauce actually doesn't have any upgrades, which he really needs to start getting. Even just plus one ground would be just fantastic. Whereas for SerPounce, he started at 3-3. Looks like he's going to be dropping into the tank line, which is not really the best choice, as he is able to get, I think, one of the tanks. No, I don't think he got any of the tanks actually. I think I'm pretty sure there was that Viking there to micro down the oh man, that poor Thor. Yeah, the Viking microed down the medevac, and it looks like Thor started chasing some of the Vikings, and that Thor very quickly got killed by all of these tanks. And this is where TVT begins to get scary, where you see like this amount of tanks. And yeah, this is kind of terrifying. It looks like CakeSauce is going to be moving forward, which is a really good time for him to be, as SerPounce is definitely out of position. And there are just so many tanks here. Although I think CakeSauce overextended a little bit for sure, and he really didn't siege up at the proper time, or he waited. Well, yeah, he waited too long to siege up. And man, just an incredible pickup from SerPounce. He's able to clean up a lot of CakeSauce's units. However, Blue Flame Hellions micro down Stimpack Marines so quickly. And looks like we might see a Thor fall through this. No, I'm just kidding. It's very unlikely to see a Thor fall to a Hellion. However, Thors could fall to tanks, as Thors are great against tanks. Well, I mean, tanks are great against Thors, as they do the extra damage. So CakeSauce is in a bit of trouble. He did lose a huge force, although he is able to make up for it. He does have 2 factories of starports, so he can very quickly produce tanks. He's producing more Blue Flame Hellions, and it looks like he's got 2 starports here. I'm not entirely sure what he's going to do with it. We're most likely not going to see Banshees, simply just because Banshees take extra damage from Thors, which is kind of messed up, in my opinion. So more than, I don't know, it's very possible we could see some of that trademark Raven play that I've seen out of CakeSauce, but again, not entirely sure. Now we do see that he is going for 1-1 upgrades on his ground armor, which is a little late for him to be doing this. I am glad that he is doing it though, simply just because he really needs to start. He needs to start doing more damage. If he's going to do the mech play, he needs to start doing more damage, especially to Marines, as these Marines are now 3-3, which means that they can take, let's see, they can take two siege tank hits, which I guess they could before, but it'd be nice if they could do more damage. And it looks like some CakeSauce actually, Fusion Core is going down somewhere, not sure where exactly. There's the Fusion Core. So we see a Fusion Core, so we're going to see battle cruisers. We're also going to see, we see 2 more factories out coming down from. This new factory does have a tech lab on it, so that is going to up his tank production. And I think he's going to go, yeah, a mech sort of Sky Terran hybrid build. More of that. We do see 2 more starports about to go down for CakeSauce. And yes, I love when people use battle cruisers, because they're not used enough, and it's just so sad. Now, CakeSauce does have a planetary fortress here, which will definitely prevent these Marines from doing really any sort of damage. And he is dropping behind the mineral line, which will allow him to micro down a lot of these SCVs. And he is able to deny mining. This 4th base really isn't mining that much. Blue Flame Hellions are moving in right now. We don't see any Vikings moving out too. So these Blue Flame Hellions can just do enough damage to the Marines. And nice spreading of the Marines there. However, he does lose all of his Marines. The dropships are going to get away unscathed though. And it looks like these guys are actually even on bases. However, the important thing to note is that SerPounce is actually on the gold base. So his income will be a little bit higher. CakeSauce is ahead in terms of harvesters, but that gold base is definitely helping out a lot. CakeSauce does lose the sensor tower, and this is definitely not the position you want to be in. As most of CakeSauce's units are sieged on the low ground. However, with this Terran, he can just elevator drop onto the high ground. He does have a couple more medevacs, and he's actually loading tanks onto the high ground as well. And it looks like CakeSauce is bringing in more of his Vikings here to micro down these medevacs. And SerPounce is actually out of medevacs, and he's going a heavy tank build. However, CakeSauce does have air superiority, which will give him vision. And it looks like SerPounce is going to be elevator dropping a little bit onto the low ground. These Vikings are trying to micro down these medevacs. However, the Vikings are getting cleaned up by the Thors. So now there is a tank inside of CakeSauce's base. He does still have 2 more tanks here. And you really can't get Hellions close or anything to micro down this 1 siege tank. So this tank is just going to be able to lob shells all day, every day. Now, out of CakeSauce, we do see 4 battle cruisers on the way, as well as Yamato cannon. Is it cannon or is it gun? I can't remember. Yamato cannon, that's what it is. So we're going to see some really good Yamatos. And Yamatos will be great against Vikings, will be great against siege tanks, really against every unit except for Thors, which is what SerPounce is actually producing more of. He's doing a lot of Marines, quite a bit, And he did just pump out a couple more forces, so he does have this one here. And this is kind of like the rough part of the tank wars, as CakeSauce is losing his main base, which not only has a lot of his infrastructure, it has his supply depots as well. But he will be in a good position, as he does have 6 battle cruisers. Now at this moment, SerPounce actually doesn't have really any anti-air. He does have Thors and a couple Marines here, and some Marines loaded up into these dropships. But battle cruisers are just really good against Marines. I mean, not when these Marines are 3-3 necessarily, but definitely just because Marines, the battle cruisers do have constant damage. Now, the Thors do get too close to all of these things of CakeSauce. And I think CakeSauce is actually probably feeling okay. He does have all these other factories here, and he's rebuilt a lot of his supply depots. Not to mention this, he does have these other bases here. But man, these tanks are just causing so much damage right now. Destroying a lot of the supply depots. The factories are dead. And this orbital is actually about to fall, which CakeSauce definitely should pick up. And yeah, there's those Yamato cannons. They're going to be able to do a lot of damage, one-shot those tanks. And he's going to force SerPounce to pull back. Now, it looks like that SerPounce is going to start producing more Vikings. He has dropped a bunch of starports. We do have 3 here, and they're each going into Viking production. Although CakeSauce really, he's going to have air superiority, as he is also producing Vikings to back up his battle cruisers. And at this point in time, I'd really like to see CakeSauce drop like a starport with a reactor, so he can start doubling up on his Viking production. And CakeSauce is actually going to be going for 1-1. His +1 attack is going to finish first. He's also going for +1 armor, which is going to give him that slight edge in the air war. So it looks like, yeah, we're going to see some heavy mech play out of both guys. CakeSauce is beginning to get a scary amount of battle cruisers. He does have 10 battle cruisers here, and a lot of Vikings, 4 Vikings. And yeah, those Marines are just going to get cleaned up so quickly. Not to mention these Vikings are just going to be able to pick off units all day, especially because they have the +1 attack. And they're going to have the +1 armor just right after SerPounce finishes his +1 attack, so he is going to have that air advantage. Now, CakeSauce is actually producing Vikings 6 at a time, and meanwhile, SerPounce is going for a drop into, he did a drop and was able to clean up this planetary fortress. There are 3 dropships worth of units and a siege tank. He is going to be going for this 3rd base of CakeSauce, which really is CakeSauce's last mining base. And I think we're going to see a base trade here and everything. But to this point in time, CakeSauce really can win this. He can just float off a unit, an orbital, and start cleaning up. But these battle cruisers are just causing so much damage. Now, SerPounce does have a lot of Vikings. CakeSauce also has Vikings, and not to mention he also has Yamato cannons, which are great against Vikings, since they one-shot Vikings. He's just cleaning up so much infrastructure, picking off Vikings where he can. And CakeSauce has to be careful as he gets flanked, as that is actually about what's about to happen. Now, CakeSauce does have more Vikings and more battle cruisers as well, and there's those Yamato cannons. And manages to clean up a lot of those Vikings. And even more Vikings are moving in from right now. So yeah, CakeSauce is just looking to be in such a good position. His 1-1 upgrades are helping out so much. And it looks like CakeSauce was actually able to clean up a lot of his force. More Blue Flame Hellions are moving in, killing these Marines. And it looks like the Blue Flame Hellions are going to spare the tank for now. Meanwhile, CakeSauce is just causing so much damage to SerPounce. SerPounce is loading up on turrets, and he is trying to produce more Vikings. Yeah, he's just in a lot of trouble. And looks like CakeSauce was able to clean up that force. He can keep mining off of this base, and he does have one last orbital, so he can start mining somewhere else. But CakeSauce is losing battle cruisers to these turrets and some of these Marines. And he really needs to start focusing down those missile turrets, as these missile turrets are just causing so much damage to CakeSauce. And CakeSauce is choosing to land his Vikings so that they can start rifling down these missile turrets. And I think we're going to see a GG here at any moment. Really, SerPounce just has nothing else to deal with this. He is trying to produce Marines, but Marines just get eaten alive by battle cruisers, and there's the GG. So congratulations to CakeSauce for taking that very tough TVT.
man, we got to see everything. We saw a lot of Blue Flame Hellions, we saw Thors, battle cruisers. I think really the only thing that we could have seen to make it even a little bit more interesting was like a nuke. But, you know, you can't win them all, I guess. I would have liked to see a nuke because I like being, because Terran gameplay is like is my favorite to watch, and I like being a kid in a Terran candy shop or something. I don't know. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, you disliked it, let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.